Hello, welcome back. Today, I'm going to do a video I've wanted to do for a long time, and I'm going to tell you all about my firewood business, the tools I use, how it works, and stuff like that. So come along with me. So the most important part about doing firewood, obviously, is getting wood to cut. Can't make fire without wood. So all of my wood comes in logs, and I source it all myself. I have never had a tree service that drops wood off. And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it. I've never had one that I've worked with. So that leaves me to source all my own logs. There's a few ways that I source them. Most of the time, it's somebody that has down trees, and they call me and they say, hey, do you want the trees? And I go pick them up. Or it's somebody that's clearing land, and I'll see, and I'll stop, and I'll ask them if they want to get rid of the wood. Or maybe there's somebody that has a area of woods, and they want cut, and they said, hey, I will compensate you to cut these trees and get rid of them. Or I followed loggers before. I followed loggers and went and cleaned up the tops. Stuff like that. That is how I get them. So like all of that pile right there was all treetops that I cleaned up out of one woods. That pile there was a tree that fell I cleaned up. The pile over there was all wood that had fallen that somebody piled up, and they didn't want to cut it and burn it because they don't do wood anymore, and I got it. So the longer I do firewood, the more people know about me and know I need wood, and they're happy to get rid of it because they understand that firewood and making firewood is a lot of work, and they don't want to partake in it. So me having to source all of my wood, there's a few pros to it. I only bring back good logs. I leave all the trash in the woods or on the site. Sometimes it's rude, but I politely tell the people, you know, I'm not taking this stuff with me. I can pile it up for you to burn, but if I've got to like bring my machine out and move it, I'm not taking it with me. There has been times I'll take some stuff, but most of the stuff I bring back is super easy to work up. There's minimal trash, and it's productive wood. Sometimes with tree service wood, they bring it to you, but you take what you're given, and sometimes it's just not good wood to work up. But if I could find a tree service wood to bring me nice logs, I would definitely go for it. But that leads me to my next point, is pretty much my most important tool to my operation is my dump trailer and my pickup truck, because without these I can't bring the wood in and I can't get the wood out. So I have a 7x16 Liberty dump trailer here, and then I use my Chevy 3/4 ton truck to haul it, and that is pretty much my most important piece. When I started firewood, I just had a flatbed trailer and a pickup truck, and I would just do what I could. But when I got the dump trailer, my first 7x14 load trail dump trailer, that is when everything completely changed. Because when you're going to get wood, if you just have a pickup, you can maybe bring back a face cord, maybe a half a cord at a time. You get a dump trailer, I can bring back 2 cords at a time. So every time I leave, I am super productive. And honestly, I'm kind of to the point that if somebody says, oh, I have a log here, if it's just one tree and it's going to be, you know, a face cord, sometimes it's really not worth going to pick up when I can choose other things to leave and come back with 2 cords of wood. So the next step of the firewood process is how I cut my wood, and we'll go in and I'll show you. So my favorite part about the whole firewood thing is cutting wood. I love to run a chainsaw. I don't mind a split. It's not my favorite thing. I just really like running a chainsaw and then running equipment to, you know, get the wood. I like running my Bobcats and stuff, but chainsaw running is my favorite. I could cut wood all day. But when I started out cutting wood, this is what I had. I had a Husqvarna 450 Rancher. I used that for a little while, and I realized I need to get a faster saw, because while this works for occasional cutting, if you're trying to cut a lot of wood, like production, it's not fast enough. So I eventually went and got some better saws. I think my first real power saw was a Husqvarna 572. And that thing was an eye-opener compared to using the 540 or the 450. And then it spiraled out of control because I love cutting wood and I love chainsaws. So currently, all these saws, except the 540 and the 450, they're all ported and have exhaust. But I've got a 500i, a 462, a 461, 572, and a 550. And I love chainsaws. I'm pretty set right now. As you notice, they're all 70 or 80 cc saws. For cutting firewood, that's what I found I like. They're not too heavy, but they have a ton of power. Yeah, the 70s, 80s, I like the 50 for working in the woods. Like whenever I go and cut treetops, I'll take the 50 out there because I'm just cutting it into logs. The next aspect of making firewood is splitting wood. And for that, I've got 2 log splitters here. So when I first started out, I just had a brute 25 ton. I bought it off Marketplace for like 700 bucks. Used that for a while, and then realized it needed to be faster. And I bought an Eastimade 1222. It was on Marketplace, and that splitter was great. And with 2 people, we could really crank out some wood. And then whenever it became just me doing the firewood by myself, I decided I just didn't need that much of a splitter, and I couldn't get the full use out of it. So I moved to this Eastimade Ultra, and it is the perfect one-man splitter. It's easy to move around. If you have 2 people, you can be super productive. If you just have 1 person, it's productive for what it is. And last year, whenever this Splitfire 1165V came out, for the price, I had to try one. Like, you're starting a firewood business, or maybe you're established and all you do is work alone and you're splitting the wood I split, I would suggest one of the lower budget splitters, like either one of these, because you can spend $25,000 and get this big fast splitter, but you're not, like, your 1 person's not going to keep up with it, and 2 people are pushing it. So working by myself, I found these entry-level machines really all you need. So after the firewood is split, got to store it somewhere. And when I started out, I think I was stacking some wood. I just made some piles of like loose wood. Terrible idea, for me anyways, to just make piles. You don't know what you have. You don't know what the quantity you have. It's laying in a pile. It doesn't dry the best. If you're putting it in a pile and you have some sort of scoop, you're naturally, to load it in a truck, you're going to scoop it up with your Bobcat or whatever, and then all sorts of dirt and crap gets in it, and customers don't like that. That's part of learning, is what your customers like. So I was starting to watch YouTube at this time, and I saw everybody using IBC totes, and that's what I went to. I went and got some free from like a warehouse in Indianapolis, and then I started just everywhere I could find IBC totes, I would get them. I've never paid for IBC totes. I get them for free. I've gotten them from warehouses, maybe some automotive places, a lot of dairy farms, people I know that have them that need to get rid of them. But I have found using IBC totes is super time saving for firewood, because yes, you spend the time tossing it in there or stacking it, but when you go to sell it, I can load a quart of firewood out in 5 minutes. Whereas if you're going to hand toss a quart of firewood, it's going to take you probably 20-30 minutes, and after that you might be a little tired, because tossing wood sucks. So I think the IBC totes are, even if you have to pay a little bit for them, I think they're highly underrated, because you save so much time with offloading the wood. And when you put them in there and you're tossing the wood in there, you're not just shoving it. The wood is clean, like it's elevated, it's clean. You dump it in your trailer. It's not like laying in the dirt, the grass. It's just a really good idea, I think. That brings me to my next point, is how the heck do you move these IBC totes and all of this wood? Because wood is heavy, and there's a lot of people that do it without any sort of equipment. And there's a lot of people that tell you that you don't need any sort of equipment. But in my mind, you need one piece. And the most important thing in my operation is my loader. And second most important piece is, well, it's not that important. It's very, very handy, and it makes my life so much easier. But it's my 2 Bobcats. So I have my Bobcat E20. This one I've had for a year and a half, really. And it has been a very helpful tool for me. Number one, to have 2 loaders, so I can have one loading somewhere at a job, and then this one, when I get back, I can stack it up. But just that big arm, it's just so easy to move big rounds, position logs. You can swing around. You don't have to move the tracks. You can just put that in one place and swing it. It's really, really good. If you have 2 people, like 2 hands all the time, you know, probably a mini excavator isn't worth it, because obviously if you have 2 hands, you got to pay 2 people, and if you got 2 hands, you can share the weight of the wood and move it around. But just working by yourself, that thing is super handy. Between moving the logs, holding logs up to cut, it's definitely something that I could live without, but it makes firewood so easy, and it makes my body last a lot longer, so I can cut more wood. So the most important tool and most important piece of hydraulic equipment I have besides splitters, and something that I couldn't live without, but I know a lot of people do, a lot of people don't have loaders, is my Bobcat MT100. So when I started out doing firewood, I didn't have any sort of loader. I used my parents' skid steer, and it worked good, but whenever I was gonna go buy my own piece of hydraulic equipment, I decided I'd buy a tractor. So I bought a Coyote 2610. I had it for a couple years. It worked really good for firewood, but the more I used it, it just made me want to try something else. So about a year and a half ago now, I sold the Coyote and I decided to try a mini skid steer. And I tell you what, this has been one of the best tools you can buy for firewood for a multitude of reasons, and I will tell you why. So while this won't work for everybody's firewood operation, I have a small wood yard and it's super easy to move around. Doing firewood, you're constantly just moving something, cutting something on and off, on and off. And while the tractor is good and a big skid steer is definitely good, I don't have property to maintain. You know, I have a gravel driveway I need to smooth out and clean stuff up here and there. But for strictly firewood, you can't beat one of these by their size, the easiness to get on and off. They're just simple. They work really good. They can pick up a ton of weight. This MT100, it's only rated for 1,000 pounds, but it will pick up way more than that. It'll definitely, it'll pick up a third of a cord of green oak and it'll move it where it needs to go. A third of a cord of green hickory that's really heavy. It's really pushing the limits, but it will get it to where it needs to go. And if anything, sometimes I just split the tote full of wood, just a little shy of the final weight. I'll go put it where it needs to go, and then I'll top the tote off. It'll sit there for a year. It'll be nice and dry, and it has no problem moving it when it is dry. The mixed hardwoods, the cherry, the ash, the walnut, the maple, you can put way more than a third of a cord on the tote, and it will pick it up no problem. But one thing that has been huge for me in having this machine is this machine has enabled me to go get so much more wood because it's so compact, it's so easy to haul, and doing some of my what am I looking for the word here? My logging job cleanups. Like there was a woods that I went and cleaned all the timber out of, like all the treetops. And I use this machine for all of it. And I would cut the wood in 8-foot sections because when I go pick up wood, I don't want to do any cutting or any splitting on site. I want to get the wood as fast as possible and get it back here before somebody changes their mind or somebody else comes and gets it. So whenever I went and got all those treetops, I was on hillsides with this, going through muddy creeks, up and down all over the place, and the places I can put this thing and it has traction and power. A tractor's not doing it for one, and a big skid steer, I'd probably be running into trees and stuff. So this thing has enabled me to go get so much more wood and move stuff around and just make my small wood yard more functional. Like I'm working on, guys, I don't even know, like maybe 200 feet wide, if that, maybe 100 feet wide by 50 feet deep. That's my wood yard. And sometimes when I have too many logs and it spills over, I put it on the other side of my property, but I don't have that much room. But this small machine just makes it so much easier. So for my small machine, I've got some pallet forks. They're super important to move totes, obviously. I've got a big firewood bucket. It's 72 inches. It is super handy to pick up all this scrap with. I'll load it full of rounds. I'll put it next to my splitter. I'll split out of that. And when I'm moving loose firewood, like hand tossed, I can fit like half a face cord in there. I've got a grapple for it over here, which if you don't have a grapple and you do firewood, you should have one because it is so much better to move logs with than brush with the grapple. I've got a couple buckets for it, but not firewood related. And then related to firewood is I have a homemade log splitter that I will bust up big rounds with, put it on the front of the skid steer. Now that tool makes a huge difference in really saving your body. You can take as big as round as you want really and crunch it down into small pieces that are easy to handle. It's less work than noodling, probably faster, and you can use it to pick it up and place it where you want. Just hard to beat. So now that I've shown you what it takes to make firewood and what I use, I'm going to talk about selling the wood. So I sell all my wood on Marketplace, like Facebook Marketplace. I have advertised on Craigslist, and surprisingly, Craigslist is not dead. Every year I seem to sell a few cords on Craigslist. It's not a lot, but it's a different customer, I guess. But when it comes to the marketing the firewood and selling it, I feel like I do things a little bit different because in my area, when I started, nobody really was doing it. And I just so happened to do it because I got a ton of one species and that's all I cut on. So it was separated, but I started separating all my species. So my oak, hickory, cherry, locust, pretty much those four. And I used to separate walnut because I just had so much walnut that it was just all I was splitting, so it was all walnut. But those four is what I separate now because people will pay a premium for oak. They think oak is the best wood, and it is really good wood. People will pay a premium for hickory because a lot of people smoke with it. Some people heat with it and they want the extra BTUs. The cherry, people love burning it for campfires, I think, really. They either burn it for campfires because it smells nice, or a lot of people see that it's cherry and they like it in their fireplace. I don't really know, but cherry seems to be really popular. And locust. Locust doesn't seem as popular. The people that usually buy my locust are people that wanted oak, but I'm sold out of oak, so they buy the locust, because locust is also super high in BTUs, and locust probably is one of my favorite firewoods. So that goes back to, who are you selling it to? And I'm probably the highest priced person in my area, therefore I don't sell as much wood, but I'm selling my wood for a lot more, right? But the perks, I guess, of being the higher priced customer is the people that I'm selling to usually are people that do not want to do the firewood work. They know it's work. They just want nice, clean firewood delivered, and they're willing to pay for it. So a lot of my customers are in, I would say, higher end neighborhoods or parts of town or big estates, and they're really friendly to deal with. I haven't really had any firewood complaints. I've had some people not give me enough information, and I show up and I get kind of frustrated, but it's not a big deal. But that is one thing that I also will say is, I don't do any customer pickups. When I started, I would do customer pickups, but I found that if people are going to go pick up the wood and they have a pickup truck and they want to do the work of loading it and stacking it and hauling it, they are not going to pay a premium for firewood. They are looking for the cheapest firewood. They don't care what it looks like. They're going to drive around and find the cheapest firewood. And within probably 5 mile radius of where I live, there's like 5 people that sell wood for half the price that I'm selling wood for. So there's no point in me marketing wood to pick up when they're going to drive by people that are way cheaper than I am. And that's not to say they don't make good wood. There's definitely one person that I know that lives close to me that makes some really nice firewood. They just sell it cheaper than me. Nothing wrong with that. But that just goes to what I'm saying is, I'm not looking to do any pickups. I want to find the customer base that is willing to pay more, that wants the nice product, that wants nice clean wood that's sorted out, that's not dirty, that is truly seasoned. Because I think I've found, and a lot of people I know have found, that probably 98% of the wood that is on marketplace for sale is not truly seasoned. People will cut it and then sell it because they're looking for quick money. I'm not like that. I want to sell like a product that I can confidently leave the place and know that if you can't get that fire started and it doesn't work for you, then there's something wrong with you. It's not my wood, because I season the wood, it's dry, it's clean, and it's going to work for you. So that being said, if you're starting out and you're just looking at price and people are selling it for $60 or $70 and you just don't think it's worth it to make firewood for $60 or $70, don't be discouraged by that. Just make a better product that you feel is worthwhile, price it for what you feel is worthwhile, and worst case scenario, you just don't sell as much as maybe somebody else, but at the end of the day, you're making more per hour, and more per hour is what you want, because firewood is work. It takes a lot of wood to bring in. It's hard on your body. It's hard on your equipment. It takes equipment, and if you're just gonna work for not that much money, at some point you will run out of money and your stuff will need replaced, and you won't have any money to replace it. That will do it for this one. I hope you found it interesting. If you are a content creator and you make firewood videos, I would encourage you to make a video like this, because I find it super interesting to watch other people's videos and show their operation and what works for them, what they're using, and that kind of thing. I like a good story, you know what I mean? I do not want to make this video as in a, look what I do, look what I've got kind of thing. There's always somebody that has way better stuff than I do, and you get what I'm saying. But going forward, firewood is probably going to continue for me. I love doing firewood. My biggest problem every year is sourcing enough logs, and as time goes on, logs always just seem to find their way to my house, and I keep finding them, so that's good. I am kind of at the point with my firewood that I'm finally reaping the benefits of it. I started doing firewood 3 or 4 years ago, and really for the first 3 or 4 years, I didn't really ever make any money. It just kind of paid for the equipment I was using and buying new equipment. And really last year and this year, I've really started to make money doing it, and everything that comes in now is profits. It's never all profits, right? You always have expenses, but I'm at the point where I'm not like saving up for big game changing objects, I guess. It's not like I'm doing firewood and I have to buy this new bobcat or I have to buy this new log splitter. Like, everything right now going forward is a bonus. I enjoy doing it. I'm going to keep doing it. So I didn't mention this earlier in the video, and I probably should have. I only do about 40 full cords a year, 120 face cords, and that's pretty much my limit, between having the time to do it, the log supply to do it, and the amount of people I can sell to. Being that I am higher priced, I can't move 400 or 500 face cords a year in my area. I definitely don't have time to do that, or the log source. But for what I want for the wood, there is not that many people that are going to buy it for me. So where I'm at is kind of pretty much where I'm stuck at. And, you know, people are always like, oh, you hate to be stuck, you know, you need to keep growing. But I'm enjoying doing this, and it's more so just about a hobby to me than making a ton of money. Firewood isn't the best way to make money. There is a lot better ways. Firewood is just something I enjoy. So with that being said, like I said, make a video like this. I want to hear from you and see your stuff and hear about your operation. So I will see you next time. You guys have a great one. I will talk to you later.